we play a game?
Why, yes. I believe we shall.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Live from Little Rock, it's Shane Plays Radio, Geek Talk Radio, a journey into the things we love. I'm your host, Shane Sachs. Thanks so much for listening, whether you're listening live over the air, 96.5 FM The Answer in the Little Rock, Central Arkansas area, or if you're listening online via the online stream at 96.5fmtheanswer.com. Welcome. And of course, welcome to the folks that are listening delayed by podcast or on Krypton Radio. Just glad to have you no matter how you're listening. Remember, this is a live talk radio show that also goes out as a podcast because I love both mediums. But the live portion, you know, if you want to interact live, you always can. The phone number is 501-823-0965. That's 501-823-0965. Or you can tweet me at Shane Plays. That's ShanePlays. And speaking of Shane Plays, if you go to shaneplays.com right now, there's show notes up for today's show. There's information on my news items and also information on my guests. So if you want to know more, or if you're like, hey, what were they just saying? I want to, let me find out what they're talking about. You go to shaneplays.com. That's ShanePlays.com. And there's show notes right now up for today's show. I also always archive each week's show on the blog. So you could always go back and hear what we talked about the week before, which a lot of people keep up with the show that way. And we do go out as a podcast, as I said, on the blog, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and many other fine podcast directories. And last but not least, we are carried on Krypton Radio, 24-hour internet geek radio station. KryptonRadio.com is SciFi for your Wi-Fi. And if you want to check out last week's show, we talked with Shy Snake Games about their Spy DNA RPG. It was really good. And next week, folks, we're going to be talking with Mike Merles, the lead for D&D on the new Tales from the Yawning Portal book that's coming out. So make sure to listen to that. It'll be really cool. One or two other quick housekeeping notes, and then I'll introduce our guests, and we'll have a quick news segment. Show sponsor, Trollord Games. Trollord Games is a show sponsor, and I appreciate them very much. They have a Kickstarter for the 7th printing of the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook, so check that out. They're already in their 7th printing on that. That's great, and congratulations to them. And again, we appreciate their support. I'm pretty sure those guys are at GaryCon this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So I've got today's show is going to be a little bit different. I'm glad to do this. This is going to be a fun show. We're going to get geeky, but we're also going to help highlight a local Little Rock business and a charity for animals. And since supporting small businesses and animals are near and dear to my heart, this is going to be a cool show. So we're joined by Jeffrey Nodelman, who has been an animator and has produced some shows that are well known, some of which, but not limited to, Doug. Do you remember? Everybody remembers Doug. In fact, I've got a really cool little custom sketch here that Jeffrey did for me. I'm going to ask him to sign today before he leaves. You may remember a little show called The Venture Brothers and a little show called Gotham Girls. So, and that's not all he's done, but that just kind of gives you an idea of what he's been involved with. He used to run his own animation studio called Noodle Soup Productions. So we will definitely talk more with Jeffrey. Jeffrey, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, so you were just here less than 24 hours ago on the Dave Ellswick show.
I was.
That was a good show. I listened in on that. It was really good.
Thank you for your help there. He was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he really liked you a lot. So, and then we're joined by Clark.
Yes.
From Cantrell Gallery.
Correct.
Right here in Little Rock. How long has your art gallery been around?
We started in 1970, and we've been in the current location since 1976.
Wow. So you know your stuff. Now, what's it like to run an art gallery?
It's a lot of fun.
Is it?
Everything I do every day is fun, and it's different, and I really enjoy it.
You get to meet a lot of cool people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now you and Jeffrey didn't meet through the art gallery, right? Didn't you say that y'all have a kind of a social once a week dinner or something?
We have once a month, a supper club.
Once a month? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's a bunch of couples that we don't talk anything about work. We just eat and drink.
Hang out. That's cool. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
We'll talk more about Cantrell Gallery after the news segment, but we're also joined by Ashley from CARE, which is a nonprofit for animals, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Why
Thank
don't
you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Tease us a little bit about CARE, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more later in the show.
So CARE was founded in 1998 to rescue and rehome pets facing euthanasia in local shelters, so
Right.
dogs and cats. We kind of swoop in when we know a great animal, when its time is up, just due to overcrowding from some of the really good shelters here in Central Arkansas. We swoop in, grab that animal, put it into a foster home or the Paws in Prison program. And at that point, it's adoptable through CARE.
Okay, we'll definitely talk more about that later. How many shelters in the Central Arkansas area are still kill shelters? And I don't know, kill's harsh, but I mean, that's what's happening, the euthanasia. I know at one time, North Little Rock at one point would move over to euthanasia. I don't know if they still do or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, most shelters still are in that position just due to, spay neuter
Resources.
isn't required. Resources are limited. Spay neuter is not required for most breeds anyway. And so
Right.
there is a huge overpopulation problem here in Central Arkansas. And so we help definitely within the Little Rock area, North Little Rock, Jacksonville. We like to work with Cabot, kind of anyone we can, but we'll also go as far as Conway, Russellville.
Okay.
If you call us and we can get there, we're going to come try to help.
That's great. So when I was, I have a whole nother life where for a while I was an elected official. I was a justice of the peace on the Pulaski County Quorum Court. And we dedicated some funds to allow this sort of traveling van to go around in the unincorporated areas, and people could bring their animals for free and have them spay or neutered.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
the only way to stop the problem is
Right.
to stop it where it starts.
Right.
And so we offer low cost spay neuter vouchers, so basically coupons
Right.
to make it easier for folks to have their pets sterilized, to try to do our part to reduce the
Excellent.
overpopulation.
Okay, well, that's great. We'll talk more about Jeffrey's animation and Clark's gallery and Ashley's care after the news segment, which I will plow through just as quick as humanly possible. Zach, why don't you go ahead and turn on the? I gotta get Zach. Are you going to go see Power Rangers this weekend? That's all you've been talking about for like 8 years.
Tomorrow night.
Saban, is it Saban's? Sabans? How do you say it?
I think it's Saban.
Saban's? Saban's Power Rangers. I was giving Zach a hard time yesterday on the Dave Ellswick show because I was like, "Are you going to take me with you?" And he's like, he forgot he was going to take me.
I'll
hate
pay for
me.
your ticket, man.
You're going to buy my ticket?
Yeah. Come along.
All right, we'll see.
Enjoy
it. I appreciate it. I just like busting your chops more than I actually like going to that movie. But I got to bust that. We love Zach, but he's been a hardcore, true Power Rangers fan. Even though we established yesterday on the Dave Ellswick show that the G1 Transformers cartoon theme is better than the Power Rangers theme.
It was okay.
No, it was scientifically proven. So that's all I want to say. Go Power Rangers. Poor Zach. I got to give him a hard time. Okay, we love Zach. He's the hardest working and coolest producer in all of radio. So, okay, real quick, Zach, let's turn on that microphone in the newsroom. Man, they're working hard. My newsroom works on Saturday. Can you believe that?
Crazy.
They're just right down the hall working on Saturday. Folks, remember, for every hour or for every dollar a Patreon support the show gets, the news team gets a penny an hour raise. So it's a win-win for everybody. I do have sponsors. I appreciate them very much, but they don't cover all the costs of the show. And any support through Patreon is very much appreciated. Okay, I'm going to blow through these so quick you'll barely realize that we had a news segment. I'm lying. It's just like when a pastor says, I'm wrapping up, and then you go another 30 minutes. It's like that. But I will go as quick as I can. Okay. There's a Kickstarter, folks, for Sacred Fire, which is a psychological computer RPG about revenge and loyalty. You can go check that out. It's linked on the show notes. It's somehow the psychology of your character at any given time affects how well you perform in the game. It looks pretty neat, so I thought I'd throw them a shout out. I've got a couple of quick plugs that I'm going to plug for myself. Shane's How to Play GURPS RPG tutorial video is now out. Took me a year to make it. I recorded that with Tony Dutra and Warren Mook Wilson a year ago, and it took me this long to get it edited and out there, but you can find that on the show notes at shaneplays.com. Also, D&D has a new digital assistant app called D&D Beyond that is out, and it's in phase 1 of its beta. I did a quick review of that and threw that out there on YouTube, so you can check that out. And then we're getting teased here, folks. I think it's Beamdog teasing us with this, but it's definitely Wizards of the Coast and D&D is involved. There's a viral marketing website out at planescape.com, planescape.com. Of course, Planescape was a well-known D&D setting, beloved D&D setting, but there was also a really well-known computer RPG called Planescape Torment, and it was really well-known, considered one of the best RPGs of all time. And it seems like all signs are pointing that there's going to be a remastered edition of that game from Beamdog. But we'll know more in about 3 days when that countdown finishes. Now, I got to ask my guests, do these news items mean anything to y'all? Or are you just like, who is this geek?
I used to play D&D.
Did you?
Yeah, old, pencil and paper and dice. And
I
all
still
that stuff.
do.
And I have played some D&D online. It's been a while. I don't. Really
Has it?
do much
Okay.
anymore,
Well,
but-
this is. Do you remember a game called Planescape Torment by any chance? It was really well regarded as like an incredibly great story and all that stuff. So, and that was Clark, of course, from Cantrell Gallery. So not only is he an art connoisseur, he's got geek cred, folks. Got geek cred.
Yeah, just ask my wife. I've got plenty.
You got plenty of geek cred. Okay, we know Jeffrey's got geek cred because of his anime. We know that Clark's got geek cred. Ashley, do you have any geek cred? Is there anything geeky you like?
I read the Game of Thrones books
Okay, that's
religiously.
geeky. There you go.
Okay.
That's geeky.
Got some street cred.
You got
There
a cred there. So, what do you think of? Do you watch the TV show?
I do.
What do you think about it compared to the books?
Well, I think in most cases the books are always better, but I think the TV show is
I've heard
great.
the TV show is pretty amazing. But
I think Jon Snow is pretty amazing on the TV show. So
the actor or the character?
both.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that's interesting about Game of Thrones is the TV show has outpaced the books now.
Yes.
So do you think that the books that follow are going to tie into the TV show?
At this point, I just hope books do follow. I'm getting really concerned.
Yeah, getting nervous.
I'm
about
worried
it?
he's spending too much time working, and I shouldn't say this as a rescue person. He does a lot of wolf rescue.
Oh, does he really?
And
I didn't know
I'm
that.
worried he's spending so much time on that. He's not finishing these books.
Well,
for
see,
us.
that's interesting because who's like the good family in Game of Thrones?
Starks.
Yeah, the wolf is their
Winterfell.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, yeah.
The
that's
dire wolf.
interesting.
See, I've got
See, look,
lots of
geek
geek credit.
cred.
I win. I'm taking the lead.
Geek cred. Okay. So, and then just to finish up here, have a sad news item from Comic Book Resources. Bernie Wrightson, who's well known in the comic book and horror art world, passed away this past week. And he's probably best known as one of the co-creators of Swamp Thing, but he has an incredibly rich career and portfolio of just sort of horror art in general. I think my first exposure to him, not from Swamp Thing, was probably there was a Stephen King wrote a book called Cycle of the Werewolf back in the 80s that the art in the book was from Bernie Wrightson. And of course, they made that book later into a movie called Silver Bullet, which, as Ashley pointed out, was not as good as the source material, right? It's really hard for a movie to top the source material. But anyway, so I just want to, way too many of these lately, and I know you're not saying I have to have any silence in radio, but for good old Bernie, I'm gonna have a moment of silence for Bernie Wrightson, and then we're gonna get on with the show with my guest. And that moment of silence was for legendary horror artist Bernie Wrightson, who has passed away and has much respect from the comic book community and art community. And speaking of art, let's move over into our main topics today. Again, I'm joined by Jeffrey Nodelman, who has been an artist or an animator and a producer of animation. And then I'm joined by Clark. Clark, what's your last name?
Huseman.
Clark Huseman from Cantrell Gallery, who's about to do an art show featuring a lot of Jeffrey's work. And proceeds from that, is it all or portions?
A portion, and then a couple of the paintings are actually going to get raffled off as well.
Are going to be raffled off to help Ashley. What's your last name, Ashley?
Younger.
Ashley Younger from CARE. See how it all ties together? Wow. It all ties together, folks. So let me, real quick, now I've got to read Jeffrey's biography because I have it. But if y'all have a biography that you spontaneously want to just read about yourself on the radio today, you're more than welcome to. But I've got Jeffrey's bio here, which is from the Facebook page for the event that's going to start March 31st, right? One of the reasons we're talking is because Clark's art gallery, Cantrell Gallery, is going to quote unquote reopen, even though you haven't been closed, right? But you're kind of relaunching after a remodel, starting March 31st, and it goes through May 6th. And you're going to feature Jeffrey's artwork.
Correct.
And then proceeds from that will go, or portions of that will go to CARE, which is a nonprofit to rescue animals that are about to be euthanized by the shelter they're in. So here is Jeffrey Nodelman's bio. I'm doing this just so I can embarrass Jeffrey. As an award-winning illustrator and animator, Jeffrey Nodelman has spent over 20 years in the arts and entertainment industry. With a star on the Walt Disney Television Animation Walk of Fame. What did you get that for, Jeffrey?
PB&J Otter.
PB&J Otter on the Television Animation Walk of Fame. His career includes television and film work at Walt Disney, Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Miramax, DC Comics, and Tokyo Pop. Not one to typically show his personal work outside of family and friends, his last gallery exhibit was a screening of his short film, The Tree Elves, as a presidential pick for Earth Day at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. Currently, Mr. Nodelman is the Vice President of Marketing and Media for ATA International and lives in Little Rock, Arkansas with his family and rescue dogs. ATA International is actually the American Taekwondo Association. I've actually worked there a couple of times. With Jeffrey and I have learned we have some mutual friends to that. But a lot of people don't know, right here in Little Rock, the world headquarters for the largest centralized martial arts organization in the world, right here in Little Rock.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful brand new building as well, too.
It's really nice new headquarters. Yeah. So ATA is pretty big, a lot bigger than a lot of people might think. So
it is the world's largest martial arts organization, and it's still family owned and family run.
A lot of great people over there.
Yes.
And if people are looking for a good sport that also teaches discipline and what's another word I'm looking for? Perseverance.
It's the life skills. Yeah, it's the life skills you need.
Yeah, ATA is a great sport to not only for the health benefits or whatever, but also for the mental discipline and the life skills. So respect and that sort of thing, striving for a goal. So as we said, the art show, and this is all linked on the show notes at shaneplays.com, or there's also a Facebook page that's linked. Starts March 31st right here in Little Rock at Cantrell Gallery, which probably, strangely enough, is probably off Cantrell.
It is off Cantrell.
Yeah.
That's
so
correct.
it is Heights
not on
Hillcrest
Cavalry.
area?
It is in the Cantrell Heights area. It's right across from Pavilion in the park.
Okay.
We're in a small strip center with Taziki's restaurant. A lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But there's a tennis shop, some other things. It's a strip center, though.
Do you ever walk over to Trios?
I do. If I feel adventuresome enough to cross Cantrell on foot,
I love Trios.
then I will. Yeah, Trios is amazing.
Taziki's is good too. You know how you can tell if somebody's not originally from around here? They say Cantrell.
And Rodney Parham.
Yeah, Rodney Parham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how did you say it when you first got here? You're a transplant from New Jersey.
I am a transplant. Yes.
Did you say
actually.
Cantrell or did you say Cantrell?
I said Cantrell.
Did you?
I said Cantrell.
Look at you.
I was pretty
Fitting
good.
right in.
I was pretty good.
Did you say Markham or Markham?
Markham.
Did you? All right. And did you say Circe or Cersei? I said Circe. I'm from here. And I moved away and came back and accidentally said Circe.
No, I probably went Circe. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
That's how you could tell.
Yep.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everyone starts staring at you.
Yes.
Yeah, pointing you out. All right, so let's talk a little bit, and we are going to talk with Clark and Ashley about the art gallery and Kara. But let's talk a little bit. What are some of the properties in animation you would say you're known for, Jeffrey?
Known for probably Doug.
Yeah.
What
did you do? Actually, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break to pay the bills. When we come back, what did you do with Doug?
Okay,
like
great.
What was your role in Doug and some of these other these well-known shows that you worked with, and then you also ran your own production company, which is pretty fascinating, right out of Times Square.
Yes,
in New York City. And then, of course, like I said, we will talk with Clark about Cantrell Gallery and Ashley about care for animals. When we come back, 96.5 FM, Shane Plays Radio. Comic book lovers, visit thewildstars.com today. From the mind of author and comic book industry expert Michael Tierney, it's not just a comic book, it's a comic book novel. The Wild Stars is sci-fi and so much more.
Learn the explanations behind UFOs and space gods. This isn't the Twilight Zone. This is the region of the Milky Way galaxy known as the Wild Stars. We guarantee you've never read anything like it. The complete comic book novel took 20 years to tell, with one reviewer noting, the story of the Wild Stars stretches ambitiously across space and time, from small-town murders to the destruction of planets, with every event given multiple layers of meaning. If you haven't read The Wild Stars, you're missing out. Visit thewildstars.com today.
The die is cast.
Plunge into worlds of fantastic adventure where dragons lie and the undead stalk the shades of your mind's imagines. Where creatures of legend plunder wealth through the horror of their passage. Monsters grim and foul hold the ecstasy of gold and the renown of glory. All this and more awaits you and your friends in the unlimited, fantastic world of the Castles and Crusades role-playing game from Trollord Games. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy today. A rules-light, adaptable game that has stood the test of time. 12 years in constant publication with no new additions. Castles and Crusades is the original, easy-to-play attribute check system. Join us and unleash your imagination. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy of Castles and Crusades today.
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.
Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk Radio right here on 96.5 FM The Answer out of Little Rock. Also streaming online across the world at 96.5fmtheanswer.com. And I know people listen. I've gotten tweets from Argentina, from Brazil, from the United Kingdom. So I know people listen all over the place. We're talking with Jeffrey Nodelman, who is an animator and a producer of some well-known animation shows, and ran his own animation production company out of Times Square in Little Rock, or not Little Rock, New York City for like 6 years. We're also joined by Clark from Cantrell Gallery, who's about to be doing an art show of Jeffrey's work, and portions of that are going to support the Care Animal Rescue nonprofit that Ashley is here to represent. So it just all connects together. It's holistic. It's just everywhere you look, it's all connected together. We're all in this together, guys.
Absolutely.
Happy family, absolutely.
Yeah, we're all in this together. So right before the break, oh, and don't forget, this is Live Talk Radio. If you happen to be listening live, it's 501-823-0965. If you want to call in and talk to Ashley about their animal rescue, or if you want to talk to Clark about what they do at Cantrell Gallery, been in business since the 70s. So if you want to know art in Little Rock, Clark's your man to talk to. And his wife, Cindy. Cindy, I know you sent the bio. I said I'd read it, but he didn't send it to me. So I'm just saying.
You're in the doghouse now.
Yeah.
But Ashley will save you, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's good.
No pun intended.
Nice. Very
quick.
nice. And then, of course, we've got Jeffrey, who has been an animator and a producer. Ooh, I'm almost messing up my little Doug sketch here that he left for me yesterday when he was on the Dave Ellswick show. But I say you can call 501-823-0965 if you want to talk to them about any of that. You want to talk to Jeffrey? I mean, he's worked on Doug, the Venture Brothers, Gotham Girls, a lot of other well-known stuff. I read his bio before the break. He's worked with some heavy-hitting industry players. So if you have a question, you can call 501-823-0965 or tweet me at Shane Plays. Now, right before the break, I was asking Jeffrey, what on Doug? Everybody knows Doug. Right? Like, I'm more like Venture Brothers, but everyone's like Doug. Everyone loves Doug, which is cool, right? What was your role in Doug?
Well, I started actually, when I went to school visual arts in Manhattan.
Okay.
And there were only two major studios back then. It was Jumbo Pictures that did Doug, and MTV, which did Beavis and Butthead. So actually, depending on who I'm talking to, they
Right.
want to talk about Beavis, they want to talk about
Right.
Doug. But Doug was actually the first show that I worked on.
So you did work. You worked with Beavis and Butthead.
Yes,
I
yeah.
didn't realize
when you
that.
go back and
Yeah.
there was a lot with MTV. So we did the
Right.
Max, we did
You did the Max.
we worked on the Max, we worked on what was it, the top 10 countdowns and all those little MTV. We used to do all those
See, that I didn't
interstitial
even
stuff.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I got really lucky that I went to the right school at the right time and got stuck to bounce back in between those two studios.
Okay, I got to ask you this because this hits both the comic book and the art stuff. Sam Keith had a really unusual art style for the Max and the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Was that any more difficult than average to adapt to animation, or is it just animation is animation?
Honestly, the hardest show to ever work on the animation I didn't animate on the show. I did storyboards.
Yeah.
Was Beavis and Butthead
Really?
because Judge's style was so. He didn't draw very well at all, but he was so funny that a lot of the guys honestly drew with their non-dominant hand.
Right. Just so that it would give it that more rough look.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then you figured out how to go back.
So
and-
you did storyboards on the Max. Did you do any of the direct animation cells on Beavis and Butthead?
No, no, I never painted on Beavis. I painted on Doug.
Did you?
And my first job ever at Jumbo Pictures, I was an intern. I was a year one intern, and back then interns you didn't have until junior year. I got really lucky that they accepted me as a freshman, and I still remember walking to the studio my first day. I was all excited. They were going to have me paint. I couldn't wait, and it was the bathroom. Was actually the first thing I painted was at Jumbo Pictures. Yes. So it wasn't Doug. No, it was the bathroom of the studio.
Oh, the actual
Yes, I
bathroom.
actually painted the bathroom of Jumbo Pictures. And then I got to move on. And then I was a cell painter was my very first job.
Yeah.
And honestly,
And
what
back then it was still cells.
it
right?
was true cells. You had
Yeah.
to wear the white cotton gloves.
Yeah.
You had paintbrushes that you
Yeah.
would sharpen the back end so you could scratch it off if you screwed up.
Yeah.
And honestly, they didn't even let you pick the colors back then. It was paint by number. You went in and it
Yeah.
said this was 90. I still remember Doug's skin tone was 90. His sweater vest I thought was that was olive green 6. His pants, oh man,
Wow.
they were that tan. I think it was tan L, and then everything had its own code because there were these big racks of paint.
Yeah.
You'd have to go over, pick up the
And pick
paint,
it up.
walk to your desk, and paint them all. So they would come to us. It would actually be inked first on one side, then you'd flip it over and paint it in reverse color order on the other side. And then you'd have to put it on a drying rack, let it dry, and then come back. And then
Wow.
that's what they would ship to Korea as a standard.
Well,
cell.
now, as I understand it, what little I know about the actual back end of animation, you've got like your major cells and then you have your interstitials,
Sure.
right? So, like, were you working, like, when stuff gets sent off to Korea, a lot of times they want Korea to do the interstitials, right?
That's a great.
Yeah.
So typically, the process would go. Most studios are either pre or post production.
Right.
So what we were both at Jumbo. You did all the storyboard stuff. So you get a script that say, okay, 4 people are sitting in a studio, and it would be broken down into characters, props, and backgrounds. Eventually, I ended up becoming a character designer and then a storyboard artist. So what would happen is someone would have to design all the people in the room. We have to design what the room looks like, would be the background artist. And then anything that moved, like the water bottles, there would be a prop. Then they would go in 3 different directions to get designed, to get inked. Then it would go back, and the director would approve, I want this to be this. Or then it'd have to go to a color palette. Is it a day palette? Is it a night palette? Is it a twilight palette? Then it would come to the color department, which would have been us. We'd paint everything. Then everything would go as a big pack to Korea with the storyboard that would say, okay, we want to see a master shot of the outside of the building. Then
Right.
let's cut inside. Let's see a logo. Then let's see Shane nodding. And then let's see the idiot
Right.
kind of flapping his lips.
Yeah, which is
and-
both Shane.
Well, no, I meant me, but yes, exactly. And that's how you would go back. And then the director would, everything would be locked out on an X sheet where
Yeah.
you'd see everything 1/24th of a second.
Yeah.
And it'd be broken down
That's
where
amazing.
the H of the
Yeah,
hello
right,
is.
right.
And it's now you can go to Staples and for $300 you can get a Flash program and
Right.
and do everything on your
That
phone.
does. Isn't that crazy?
No, that's not the word I would use. It is really frustrating.
So there's a lot of work involved, even today.
Yes.
When you were on with Dave Ellswick yesterday, Dave pushes his stuff out. I think Salem has a SoundCloud Salem Little Rock page where Dave posts his show to as a podcast. I'd recommend people go listen to that because y'all had a really great discussion, and a lot of it was about the nuts and bolts. And Dave's sons were like, we want to be animators. So Dave took them down to Full Sail University and they saw how much work was involved, and they said, "Yeah, I think we're going to do something else, Dad." So a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But again, I mean, as an animator, I never worked a day in my life.
Yeah, because you loved it, right? So is anybody still doing cells today, or is it all digital?
It moves to digital. You'll hear the terms like digital ink and paint. I doubt anybody outside of maybe a Singapore or somewhere that they're doing true traditional stuff. My hope is that like vinyl records come back eventually.
Yeah,
you'll get some beautiful cell stuff come back.
You're also getting practical effects back in movies.
Yes.
So like what does the animation style require? Right. I mean, sometimes digital's fine.
Sure.
Flash, this or that or the other, but like Kubo and the Two Strings. Did you see that? Did y'all see that?
Look at the goose pimples.
Yeah,
Unbelievably stunning.
And that was all stop motion animation.
Of course, yeah.
It wouldn't have looked the same if you did it, And like I even noticed a difference. Like Aardman went from claymation kind of over to flushed away.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to keep that same look of claymation, but it's just not the same.
It's not the same, and it still it goes back to classical training stuff. Everything goes back to the composition of the film, and you talk about the stop motion stuff. I mean, A Nightmare Before Christmas is still going to be one of the most beautiful.
Well, even
films.
the lighting and everything's going to look different because it's real, right? And your eye knows that.
It does. It does.
But there's sometimes digital's fine. It just depends on.
They'd still be animating Monsters Inc., which is what we talked about yesterday. Today, if they did it in a way other than digital.
Oh yeah, because it'd be like a year to do one wave of the hair.
Exactly, because
right?
it was affected by the muscle and by the skin and by the rotation of the hair and the wind, and it's just incredible what they can do.
So, and that was one thing that I thought was interesting that you mentioned yesterday with Dave was that Pixar actually makes money off their software.
Yes,
that they came up to.
That's
rendering to do all that more than they do their movies.
Exactly. Well, that's where they came from.
So, Clark and Ashley, are y'all animation fans at all? Do y'all have a?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
What do you like? What do you like out there, Clark? What's your stuff?
Now that you asked me that question, I'm
you're
not going to come over there.
You'll remember at 4:00 this morning.
Say Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Sound cool. Say Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Miyazaki. He's doing another one, the little caterpillar thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some little caterpillar movie. So. What about you, Ashley? Are you an animation fan at all?
Well, I am. So I knew some of your references, and then I don't know what technique they used for like Wallace and Gromit.
I love it. Well, that was
Aardman.
That's Aardman.
So that I don't know if claymation is the right word, but it was like physically
stop motion.
Stop motion with sort of clay type characters. And then that came out of. At the same time, Aardman did this amazing thing called Creature Comforts, where they went around and interviewed people just on the street. And then they animated animals around it, and it was really good.
Hilarious. The tiger one is hilarious.
Yeah. You're talking about space.
Yes.
Space, I need space. You
it's so funny.
Yeah. I love that one, and I love the dog and the cat on the couch.
Yep.
They're always kind of...
But that's animation physics. That's why animation is so great, and story dictates the medium.
Oh, man. All right, so... but yeah, Miyazaki's great. You can't go wrong with Miyazaki. If folks... Clark, have you seen Kubo and the Two Strings?
No.
Oh.
Go.
I know.
Spectacular.
You got to see it. It's really... I don't really follow the Oscars anymore, but I was personally disappointed that it didn't win the Oscar because it was a really, really amazingly well done. Anyway, okay. So, Clark, is this the first sort of... and I'm gonna guess it's not because you've been in business since the 70s. Is this your sort of first pop culture / animation type feature show or...
Not exactly. Probably maybe close to 20 years or so ago, we did another exhibit for an animator who did work at Disney.
Okay, cool.
And he
was
did,
it like his cells or like what was he?
His he did not do cells. If I remember, he did like watercolors and things like that. But I mean, he had stories of working at Disney, similar to what Jeff says. Where you're painting cells and they would just toss stuff in the garbage when they were through with it. Mm-hmm. Nobody saved anything at that point. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, well, so-and-so's birthday's coming up, and I'm going to go dig around in the trash can, see if I can find something for him and give it to him for his birthday.
Right.
And so...
and now they know that stuff's valuable.
Oh, yeah.
I am kicking myself on a daily basis that we didn't save that stuff.
So no, we have shown for that artist... we've shown for so many different artists at this point that I'm not sure that I can remember all the different references, but... Yeah, everybody's got an interesting style.
But now, Jeffrey, what you're showing at Cantrell Gallery starting March 31st through May 6th here in Little Rock, is it's a pretty wide range of, I would call it pop culture related art, right? So kind of give us an idea of what's going to be at the gallery.
So it's actually there's no animation art. There's one painting that I'm doing of Doug and Pork Chop.
Yep.
That we're gonna raffle that one off, or highest bidder or something. That one 100% is just gonna go to care.
Well, now didn't you, when you were at River City Comic Expo and you were doing art in your booth there, you were giving some of your proceeds?
100% of those proceeds went to. I've actually done
Care.
a couple of I got one of my dogs comes from Care,
right?
And my son wants to be a vet, and Ashley's been so super supportive of him, and so I've done a few things. I've actually painted the cover of the Little Rock Visitors Guide.
I saw that, and it looks great. Yeah,
that was a whole lot of fun to do. It was a huge honor to do.
Yeah,
and that I did with watercolor, and that's a more kind of a traditional painting.
How would you describe? Okay, so you brought in a picture, and Dave Ellswick, if he was in here, would love this. You brought in a picture of Stevie Ray Vaughan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I almost said Steve Vai for some reason, even though I knew it wasn't Steve Vai.
The guitar mixes it up. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, but how would you describe this style here? I would say, in my very limited artistic knowledge, is sort of a chiaroscuro, this kind of shadows and light, but it's not. Like, how would you?
It's I guess you would call it pop. Is more the design style. As a classically trained artist, I can over render the heck out of something, and you could hide stuff with shadows and cross hatching and affect things up. And I got to the point where spending so much time on one drawing wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
I wanted to really limit it. And what we did, the design style here, this is more of a pop style, but it's not a screen. It's not a photograph that you kind of ink it on there. I still do it old school. I get a pencil, I get the picture of Stevie Ray, and I sketch it on there. And then what I try to do is I find the highlights, I find the shadows, I find the midtones, and then kind of go to town with just a few colors of paint. So if you stand close to the painting, you'll really just see shapes.
Right.
The further back you go, your eye will fill in that negative space and let you see the image.
You've got characters from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I know you have an art where it's Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, but it's Christopher Reeve.
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter. I want to say Linda Tyler, and I know that one right. And then Adam
West.
Adam West as
yes.
Yeah. And now, is that finished yet?
That's finished. That's finished. That's going to go up. Yeah. Basically, the idea behind the show was we couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with the show, everyone always asks, well, how do you get inspired as an artist? So what I really wanted to do was think about, well, what inspired me to want to be a creative? Mm-hmm. So if it was on a lunchbox, if it was on your record player, if it was on your TV at some point when you were growing up, if you're my age, this is going to be your show.
Right.
You're going to see Alan Alda as Hawkeye,
right, sitting
next to Stevie Ray Vaughan, sitting next to Igor from Young Frankenstein,
right, sitting next to Daryl Dixon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
there's some really fun stuff.
Very cool stuff. And how many total pieces will be in this art?
We talked about 8 to 12. I'm finishing the 20th now.
Wow. Is there room for all that, Clark?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we'll make it work some way.
All right, cool.
It was fun. It was one of those, and the problem is I have a list next to my easel.
Yeah.
And the list is so long.
Yeah.
And I want to paint Jim Craig next.
Yeah.
And I still remember, I'm a huge hockey fan.
Yeah.
And I remember in 1980 sitting on my mom's bedroom floor,
the Miracle.
watching Michael Ruzioni, watching the puck go in. And I'm like, I got to paint that. If I'm painting those kinds of memories, it's just, I don't know if I'm going to get
Miracle
there.
on Ice.
There you go.
That's great. So speaking of space at your gallery, Clark, you said that y'all just kind of refurbished, remodeled, and you've combined two spaces into one. Did I understand that right?
That's correct.
Kind of tell people what you've done at your gallery.
We opened the location on Cantrell in 8206 in that storefront. It's a strip center, so there are just all the different storefronts.
Right.
In 1990, we took also the 8208 space, knocked a couple of holes in walls. So we had doorways. So we had two storefronts. And beginning of this year, we started reorganizing, and we really don't show the types of things that we used to show a long time ago. We've really focused on local art at this point,
which is cool.
So it's all local art. We also do custom framing. We do everything we do in house. We don't send anything out.
Explain why that's better than. And I'm not knocking Michael's or a place like that.
Absolutely.
But why would I want to come And I'm assuming I'd want to, but
Absolutely.
explain why your service would be different from like if I went to Michael's or something like that.
I'm the new guy, and I've been there since 1990.
Okay.
So I have that wealth of experience.
Right.
It's not just now Michael's. They use most of the same materials that I do, as far as I know.
Okay. All
But
right.
it's not just having the materials; it's knowing what to do with them. It's knowing how to use them.
Well, there's a composition to framing, right? Like
Absolutely.
how much like negative white space and this and that, and
Right.
what material color to use and all that.
Right. And some of
yeah.
that's personal preference. And,
Right.
some people are going to like, if they're going to do a shadow box, they might like things more asymmetrical. I'm very symmetrical. So I like to do things kind of lined up. If somebody wants one that's kind of scattered, I'll say, hey, Cindy, come over here and you do this
Right.
one because, she's
Right.
got a better eye for moving stuff around. But it's all about, knowing how to do the right thing with the right materials and make it
Excellent.
look good.
Okay. So Cantrell Gallery on Cantrell Road, obviously, across from Pavilion in the Park, you said?
Correct.
Okay. Local art, other art, and excellent high quality framing.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk with Ashley about care and the animals. Because if you don't care about animals, there's something wrong with you. So we're gonna talk about that after the break, and we'll try to talk to Jeffrey a little bit more about some of his other animation experience, and see if we can get some more of these amazing, cool insights and stories that he's already shared with us right here on Shane Plays. But first, Zach, got to give love to a sponsor. It's on paper, so you know it's important, right? All right, here we go. Some goblins are your friends. Game Goblins is Central Arkansas's premier retailer of Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40K, board games, card games, RPGs, miniatures, and hobby accessories. Call Game Goblins at 501-224-GAME or visit them online at gamegoblins.com. That's 501-224-GAME or gamegoblins.com. And they just redone their website, so go check that out. Conveniently located 1121 South Bowman, right on the corner of Bowman and Canis in West Little Rock, and staffed by friendly employees. Game Goblins has expanded their store size, and there's plenty of room for exciting inventory and tables for play space. You'll like that space because Game Goblins has gaming events every day of the week. For all of your gaming needs, I heartily recommend Game Goblins. Make sure to check out their customer loyalty program that rewards you based on your actual purchases. Game Goblins earns your business and keeps it. First-time customers mention Shane Plays and receive $10 off your purchase of $50 or more. Tell them Shane Plays sent you.
Comic book lovers, visit thewildstars.com today. From the mind of author and comic book industry expert Michael Tierney, it's not just a comic book, it's a comic book novel. The Wild Stars is sci-fi and so much more. Learn the explanations behind UFOs and space gods. This isn't the Twilight Zone. This is the region of the Milky Way galaxy known as the Wild Stars. We guarantee you've never read anything like it. The complete comic book novel took 20 years to tell, with one reviewer noting, the story of the Wild Stars stretches ambitiously across space and time, from small-town murders to the destruction of planets, with every event given multiple layers of meaning. If you haven't read The Wild Stars, you're missing out. Visit thewildstars.com today.
The die is cast.
Plunge into worlds of fantastic adventure where dragons lie and the undead stalk the shades of your mind's imagines. Where creatures of legend plunder wealth through the horror of their passage. Monsters grim and foul hold the ecstasy of gold and the renown of glory. All this and more awaits you and your friends in the unlimited, fantastic world of the Castles and Crusades role-playing game from Troll Lord Games. Visit your friendly local game store or trolllord.com to get your copy today. A rules-light, adaptable game that has stood the test of time. 12 years in constant publication with no new additions. Castles and Crusades is the original easy-to-play attribute check system. Join us and unleash your imagination. Visit your friendly local game store or trolllord.com to get your copy of Castles and Crusades today.
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.
Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk Radio, a journey into the things we love. I'm your host, Shane Stacks. Remember, this is live talk radio. If you happen to be listening live, you can call in at 501-823-0965 and talk to me or my guests. I imagine you want to talk to my guests, but if you just want to talk to me, you can. Or you can tweet me at Shane Plays, ShanePlays. And don't forget that the show notes for today's show are up at shaneplays.com. We got joined by Jeffrey Nodelman, who's an animator and a producer of animated productions, including Doug, the Venture Brothers, Gotham Girls, and many others. He worked on earlier in his career. He also worked on Beavis and Butthead. I mean, he's worked on a lot of well-known properties and knows the industry and can tell some fantastic stories about it. He's also got an art show here in Little Rock starting March 31st and going through May 6th, I believe, at Cantrell Gallery. And Clark is here from Cantrell Gallery. We were talking during the break that you have gallery dogs. Your dogs hang out at the gallery.
Got a border collie, Sky, loves to play ball.
Yeah.
And Zoe, and she's a little loud. Sometimes she has to stay in the back, but yeah, they're great. We love having store dogs.
And they're rescue dogs.
Sky is not a rescue dog, but Zoe is.
And then you have a rescue dog, right, Jeffrey?
I have 2 rescue dogs and 1 special needs dog.
Okay. I have a special needs kitty. She is messed up in the head. Yep. I love her.
Yep.
But she messed up in the head.
Yes.
I'm just saying. And I actually kind of love her even more because of the bonding and the extra work I've had to put into her. So to be quite honest about it, I brought her home. She's a little fuzzball kitten. Got her out of a box in front of some pet store, and she was hissing all the time. I said, "Isn't that cute?" No, it wasn't cute. It was an indicator of things to come.
Yes.
So, and speaking of rescue animals, we are joined by Ashley from CARE, which is a nonprofit here in Arkansas, Central Arkansas, that does its best to rescue animals from shelters right before they're going to be euthanized. So, Ashley, tell us, you've been patiently waiting. Tell us a little bit more about CARE.
Well, first, I've enjoyed getting to learn about everyone else. It's been really neat for me. But CARE is actually located just down the street from the studio. We're at 5516 Kavanaugh Boulevard in the Heights. We're right next to Ozark Outdoors and US Pizza.
Yep.
We do not, one kind of interesting thing about us, we don't have a physical shelter at CARE. So today, for example, I get lots of calls on Saturdays, can we come up there and see all your animals?
Yeah, there's no there to come see.
No there. We have a physical office space where we work. And then in the front is a gift shop. We partner with Doggy Daddy, a really great store in town, on dog and cat food and merchandise and kind of goodies. But on Saturdays, we bring our dogs and cats in from either foster homes or the Paws in Prison program, and we have them at CARE for you to meet them, but then they go home after that Saturday showing.
So you mentioned the Paws in Prison program a couple times. What is that?
So it's really neat. We're thrilled to partner with the Arkansas Department of Correction. This partnership began in 2011 as really a way to help more shelter dogs in need, but then also a way to give back both kind of within and without the prison system in Arkansas. So this is a way for inmates to sort of turn their time into a more positive experience, give back a little bit. It's also job training.
So they help take care of the animals?
They do.
Like groom them? Or what,
it's really neat.
What are they doing?
So we pull an animal from the shelter, get it vetted. We put it in one of 2 Paws in Prison units that we work with. There's several across the state, but CARE works with Malvern and Wrightsville. And then each animal in that program is assigned an inmate trainer. We have free world trainers, so dog trainers on the outside, who come into the prison, show these inmates what they need to know to train the dogs. And then after 8 weeks in the program, the dogs graduate with what they need to become American Kennel Club Good Citizen certified.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Do they get a little laminated card?
They do get a little certificate. So you can totally put it on your fridge.
They just whip it out. I'm certified.
And it's funny. They know the AKC training is really everything a dog would need to go home and have nice inside manners, to sit down, stay, potty training, crate training, how to walk on a leash. But these inmates have great senses of humor. And so they usually learn some little funny things. Like we had a dog that knew shakedown. And you'd say shake down, and the dog would jump up on a wall and spread its front and back legs and pat the dog down. A lot of them know bang bang.
Oh, no.
We had a little beagle named Jack, and you would say talk, and he would do the brrrr, the little beagle sounds.
Yeah.
So they teach them really fun, cute things as well as what they really need to know.
Well, that's good. So the website for CARE is careforanimals.org, and CARE stands for Central Arkansas Rescue Effort, right? For
That's
animals. So I assume that, like any nonprofit, that you're always in need of donations and volunteers, right?
Yes.
So speak to that real quick if you want to.
Yes, so always in need of donations, both, of the financial nature, items as well. We do blankets, towels, things like that. Anything we can't use, we redonate to the shelters that we partner with. So that way, it's never getting pitched, that sort of thing.
Right.
We want to make sure someone gets to use it. Dog food, kitty litter, kennels, that sort of thing. And then volunteers. I mean, we only have a 3-person team, a 3-person staff. So we're a small office.
Right.
But right now, for example, I've got volunteers. Shout out to Ethan Eigelhart, who's holding down the fort at
right
CARE.
now. Yeah.
He's there right now managing
Have you
the gift
seen
shop for me.
the little meme where it's like the dog with the flames and he's like, "This is fine." Have you seen that?
That's probably
what
how
he's
he
like.
feels right now, because I'm like, good luck with the cash register. See ya. I'm going on the radio now. But so I've got him there helping in the gift shop. And then also I've got some really great Saturday showing volunteers that are handling our adoptable dogs. I've got 2 dogs out there. I think I told y'all it's a spice theme. So we've got Sarsaparilla and Cayenne.
Yeah.
They are from Paws
What
in
was
Prison.
that other spice name that I was like, what is that?
Cardamom.
I don't even know.
That poor dog.
That made the
And we have a
but
dill.
Paprika didn't. A dill? Okay, I get that.
Paprika was taking it too far.
Yeah.
Sage.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. So, folks, again, go to careforanimals.org, where you can either, I guess, foster or, help or with resources, money, or time. Nonprofits fill a huge gap. They stand in the gap in a lot of ways in our culture, and they're always needing resources. So, Ashley, thanks so much for coming on and telling us about CARE. So, again, If you're just now tuning in or whatever, we're talking about Jeffrey Nodelman, who is a animator. When did you get into animation? How long?
I've been drawing ever since I could remember holding a pencil.
You got in professionally, late 80s, early 90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s. So you know the business. Worked with Doug, Venture Brothers, Gotham Girls, many others. Go out there. I've got his IMDb page linked on the show notes. And if folks listen to, go find the Dave Ellswick podcast from Salem, Little Rock on SoundCloud. And you were on there about an hour yesterday talking too, right?
Yeah, it was only supposed to be a half-hour show.
Dave likes you if he kept you another 30 minutes. So if he keeps you another 30 minutes, he likes you. But there's some great talk about the animation industry and what it takes and stuff like that. So unfortunately, we're about out of time. But thanks so much for coming on, Jeffrey. I love listening to you. This is what it was like, and we did this, and I painted the bathroom at the studio, and then I was doing Doug and Beavis and Butthead, and then we didn't even get to talk about your Noodle Soup production company, and you produce Venture Brothers and all this other amazing stuff.
Just bring me back.
Yeah,
it's a fun
we might
place
just
to be.
have to do that.
That is pretty awesome.
All right, folks, don't forget the art show of Jeffrey's art. All kinds of cool subjects will be at Cantrell Gallery, run by Clark and Cindy. Yeah, go ahead, Clark.
The opening night event is from 6 to 8. It is open to the public.
Okay,
and
6 to
Jeff
8.
will be there.
Okay, 6 to 8, March 31st.
Yes.
And then portions will go to support CARE, who Ashley is here to represent, and help the animals. So it all works together. I love it so much. Folks, don't forget, next week I got Mike Merles from D&D. He's the head of D&D, and he'll be talking about Tales from the Yawning Portal. All right, I don't know if y'all know about this or not, but I have a weekly tradition on my show. It's called the Bad Joke of the Week. So you are my test subjects. You are my victims. You ready?
Go for it.
All right, this is in honor of both Zach and Jeffrey. All right. Where do basketball players get their old uniforms replaced?
I have no idea.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll catch you next time on Shane Plays Radio.
Winter is coming.
Might just be the cold.
Winter is coming.
It's cold outside. You don't know cold.
Winter is coming for him.
It's either me or this cold, and it doesn't appear to be going anywhere.
And winter is coming.
You look cold, boys. 'Tis a bit nippy.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
That's cold.
Winter is coming.
Mm-hmm. I'm cold.
It's cold and it's wet.
Winter is coming.
You're crying because you're cold? You're a long way from home. And winter is coming.
I imagine you might be rather cold.
And winter is coming.
Oh, that's all right. I'm fine.
You're not. You're freezing.
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.